Hi everyone, I'm Shauna and welcome to the channel. Today's video is a little unique and one that is inspired by one that I filmed earlier in Vlogmas. So about a week ago, give or take a couple of days, I brought to you a video that was inspired by one from Sarah Rose, which was her planning to pan video, which was talking about products I'm considering panning next year. That video was a bit behind the scenes where you and I got to talk about directions for the channel next year and helping me, or I guess hearing your opinions on a project that's already in the works. And so I wanted to do more of that today. And so today's video is all about planning out channel projects for next year. So I'm going to be talking about different iterations of projects and panning projects as well that I'm thinking about next year, a couple of different iterations or versions. I am in for and ready to hear your feedback in the comments down below. There are some projects where I'm considering these two options. I would love to hear your feedback in the comments. And if there's anything else that you would like to see from me, leave them in the comments down below. So this is a video where your thoughts are very, very welcome. I would love to hear them in the comments below. Also, my Christmas tree is lit today. I wanted her to shine in the background. Before we start though, I had to show you, I'm very excited about these. Look at these holiday nails. I think they're so beautiful. They just feel like a way to be kind of like classy Christmas. Okay, let's talk first about panning type projects. I would like to do a pan those eyeshadows type of project, and I think this can occur in one of two ways, but my preferences really matter most here, and I think I'm going to talk about them. So I am not about like a bingo type of palette where it's like random shadows from my collection and I have to hit pan on them before I go to the next eyeshadow. That will not fly over here. I just know I will get so frustrated before I hit paint on anything. I think that would be setting myself up for failure. So what I think would be the best option would either be picking a palette and using it for the month and then picking a new one for the next month, or doing that with singles. So it can be singles from palettes, or maybe not singles, but it can be eyeshadows from palettes. So let's say, each one is an individual shade, and then I pick one from here and then one from this palette, and have those be a project, and I use 5 random shadows and work on them for a month, and then I would pick new ones each month. So no matter the use, I can pick each month. That's kind of one version of this where it would be its own video, and I think it would only work as its own video if it was like 5 random shadows and then I use them for a month, and it's kind of, it is what it is. However much I use it is however much I use it. If I did the palette version, like one new palette each month, I think that would be best to kind of add on to the end of of my project pan update. So here's the monthly eyeshadow, why am I blanking? Eyeshadow palette. Here's how many times I used it. Here's some of the looks I've done, kind of how I felt about it. That's something I could see myself adding on to a project, like a regular project pan update. I'm thinking that's the route I'm going to take because I have a worry, I guess, that if I did the 5 random eyeshadows, that it would get boring because none of them would get used a lot. I don't think I have that many unique shades just in general, where it would be like putting a pink next to a green. My eyeshadow collection is just not really built like that, which is fine. And then what happens if I get 3 dark colors? What I noticed this year is that whatever eyeshadow palette I had in my quarterly or seasonal makeup basket are just the ones that I use. Like I never walked back into my makeup cabinet to be like, oh, let me pull out this palette. And so there are palettes that have genuinely not been used this year because they never made their way into a makeup bin. And so if I have palettes that I'm not reaching for, they shouldn't be in my collection. So I'm just wondering, is this a problem of I'm just lazy and using what's in proximity, or do I not like some of these things? So this is a way for me to get use of all my palettes and hopefully figure out my feelings about all of them. That's the goal, just use of what I already own. And I think that the palette in the project pan is the way to go. So I have 3 that I'm considering for January, and leave your vote in the comments section down below. Let me tell you what I'm thinking. The first is the Tartelette in Bloom palette. This one wasn't a project last year, and I haven't used it since it's come out of the project. It's really neutral and really in my wheelhouse. So just a little refresh. Here she is. The other 2 palettes are both Huda palettes. I'm just gonna open them up together. We have the gold, which is this one, and then the nude light, which is this one. I got this as a Christmas gift last year. I was a little underwhelmed by it, and I haven't really used it much this year. I don't think since January. So this would be a good one, I think, to play with because it's underused. Similar story to this. I bought this in February and needs some use as well. So which of the 3 would you like to see in a project next year? Well, they will all come in eventually, but which one should be the first one? Let me know in the comments. I was also watching my friend Lara from Lara Likes Mascara. I talk about her all the time over here. She's amazing. She also just hit 2,000 subscribers. Yay to her. If you don't follow her, you totally should. If you like this kind of panning content, but also like makeup conscious consumerism, go check her out. She really made me want to pan those eyeshadows, like I said, separate own video. So thank you, Lara. I also want to continue the 100 uses project next year. But I think it's going to be new products, like just kind of give the whole thing a makeover. So that's going to come next year. And I really, really like the 100 uses project, and I like how it's a small curation of makeup products. I don't know if I would put a palette in there, but that could be another place to put a palette. But my experience with the Modern Renaissance is suggesting that that might not be a good idea. So the next part of the video are all kind of new projects to the channel. And I think you need to know about my channel's focus next year. And what I mean by focus is that the past 2 years have been low buy, no buy. And that's kind of been the grounding point for a lot of my content. And what I want to shift to next year is I have a theme. And I was going to wait till January to announce it. But I kind of think that if I want to talk about channel projects, that I should talk about it, and I should kind of give you a little secret info if you're watching this video. That's what it's for. So my next project, my channel focus for 2021, drumroll please, it's all about contentment. Contentment is going to be my word of the year. That theme is going to shape everything from my beauty content to my monthly updates, which were formerly like the no buy update. There's still going to be an update that looks very similar to that. It's just going to be like a little bit different. So it's going to shape that update. Also, like my fashion content, I genuinely mean everything on this channel is going to have contentment at its core. At least that's the goal anyways. And I think that's going to allow me to be even more, not just cognizant, but conscious. I think that some of my videos on the channel aren't inherently like anti-low buy, but I'm kind of at the point where if my content isn't explicitly supporting its goal, then it's not supporting the goal. Like I need things to be even more intentional than they already are. So I really want my focus to be next year to be about how I can practice contentment in my life, in all aspects of my life, and how I can be content as well as how I can practice that. And I have some really exciting videos that are already planned. There's one that's planned for January, like pretty early January, that is like a bit of an experiment. I'm gonna leave it for January because I feel very secure in that choice. So if my goal is to figure out how to be content and figure out ways to help contentment, or my contentment, all aspects of my life need to be that way. Is that I want this to translate to fashion. And one of the things I've been doing this year is like the quarterly capsule wardrobe video, which they haven't always come at the greatest times or on time for that matter. And so one of the things I've been considering is bi-weekly capsules. So they would be 10 pieces and I would do them every 2 weeks. And for me, clothing was a huge trigger that I was always like shopping for, always on the lookout for. One that I feel like in 2021, I was not feeling content, and I was always like, what's the newest, better thing? Or just feeling discontent with what I owned. And I don't want to feel that way. So I think for me, clothing is one of the most important areas in my life where I get that contentment down quick, or I learn those skills quick. So I think the bi-weekly capsule is a way to make my wardrobe feel exciting all the time. Not only do I think that there's creativity involved where I get to design capsules pretty quickly, or I guess more often, but I think that it will help me get to know my clothing even more. What things pair really nicely together, what doesn't. And I think this is a way for my clothing to continually feel new, special, and exciting. And I think because I'm doing so many, if I do go with this like every 2 weeks, I'll talk about what maybe some of the issues are. I could have special guests curate capsules for me. Like I think my brother would do one, maybe him and his girlfriend. I think that would be so fun. Like I would just love for different people to curate a capsule, or even maybe one of you guys like have a Zoom call with one of y'all and have y'all create like a 10-piece capsule for me for 2 weeks. That would be so fun too. I think when you put kind of challenges to things, it makes them more exciting. My holdback for this is that if I create 2 videos a week, on average, that's 8 videos a month. 2 of those videos would be capsule videos, and then 1 would be a project pan video, and then 1 would be a kind of no-buy check-in video. I'm just calling that for now because I feel like that's the best way for me to label that thing, where we all kind of know what I'm talking about and like what's included. So that would mean half of my videos are filled up every month, and I only get 4 videos to play with, which will be even less if I introduce other videos or other projects. Like my How My 100 Uses project. Every other month, would be in there. So I'm thinking that maybe 2 is too much. So I think there's a couple of options here. The first would be I only film 1 of the 2 each month and just bring you 1. The other is that one of my goals for the channel is to film more outfit videos, because I often will do the capsule but not the outfits. So I'm thinking that maybe to meet my own personal goal and interest in sharing more outfits with you all is to do 1 video of like, here's my capsule, and then 1 video, which would be like the second capsule of the month, to have that be just outfits. The other option would be to extend the capsules to either 3 months, or not 3 months, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. Both of those are options. I'm kind of intrigued about the every 2 weeks. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards. And I also don't know how long it's gonna last. I might do this for 2 months and then be like, it's just too much. I'm done. I just want a quarterly capsule, or I just want it to be once a month. And then also, because I still like quarterly capsules, do I still make quarterly capsule videos? This just kind of feels like so much. And I don't want to like fatigue an audience with so much of the same kind of content. And I think one of the things that makes capsule wardrobe videos special to me is that I only make them a couple times a year. Will that specialness run out if I'm really regularly producing this kind of content? Another project I was thinking about for next year is tracking my makeup wears. And I think this could just be a standalone video. Like it wouldn't need to be a regular series, but I've been tracking my clothes since about October. I started end of September, maybe mid-September, but because I was just getting new pieces and things, like my wardrobe wasn't really solidified until October. That's when like my personal tracking officially started. And I've really enjoyed the tracking of my wardrobe because it's just giving me so much data to see what I've been wearing. And I've actually decluttered a couple pieces of clothing because of the insights I've gained in the data from that video, and I loved it tremendously. So I was thinking about tracking my makeup, maybe doing it for 100 days and just seeing what I'm wearing, what I'm not. 100 days is just a little bit more than one season, because it's more than 3 months, I think that would be really fun and a way to, you know, get even more in touch with my makeup collection. And I guess my worry about that is, will I actually write down everything that I'm wearing, or like will I fill out the worksheet if it exists? And I do already have a makeup spreadsheet, so it's not like I have to create this from scratch, and it would just be really easy to add in a new section that will track wears. So it's just a totally easy setup and something I think is really feasible. And then come back and report after 100 days, or maybe just like after 4 months, like after one quarter, not a quarter, after 4 months, so a third of the year, what happened? What can I report back on? How did it go? I'm really tempted by that idea. Will I do it? Will I actually sit down and track the thing? I'm genuinely not sure. And then I'm also moving end of February, early March. So my makeup's gonna get packed up, and then like, will I feel like it's fair if I live out of a really small makeup bag and then just use that for 30 days is still not all of a quarter. Anyways, this is the thought. I would love to hear your thoughts on this mini project and what you think about it. So next up, I want to talk about a way that I'm thinking about structuring my purchasing next year. If you watched my Christmas wish list video, I'll link it in the cards. And this was a video that I was doing as an experiment of, if I gave myself a budget a couple of times a year to make 4 fun purchases, how would that affect the rest of my shopping? And I can tell you it's done a lot of great things. And one of the things I want to do for next year is structure my makeup buying in a very similar manner. I was thinking initially every quarter, but I believe I'm just going to do it every 4 months. So it's just like a little bit, it's just stretching me a little bit more, and then also giving myself a smaller budget. Like I think I wanted to do $150 every 3 months, which would be $600, which I think for a lot of people in this space would be reasonable. But if I really want to pursue a life of contentment, I want a budget that pushes me a little bit, that's less than maybe would be desirable. So I can be really, so it asks me to be more it asks me to be more considered, is what I want to say. So I think I want to do $150 every 4 months, and then have a separate but also somewhat small budget for skincare replacements, but more on how that will be structured later. So the point of this is to sit down once in kind of every season-ish. So I was thinking that sometime in the season, so if we're thinking about winter, winter goes till March here, even into early April. So once in that kind of 4-month period, I can sit down and make a purchase, and I'm gonna film it and talk about what I'm gonna purchase. This is gonna be just for, you know, makeup and skincare. And let's say there's a new Natasha Denona palette that comes out. I can't buy it and then buy other things later in that season. I get one purchase, like one purchase time in the whole season where I get to purchase all the makeup I want, and I can pass if I want and, you know, save up for another month, or like I don't have to spend the whole budget, but I can't be constantly purchasing in that season, which I think is different than a lot of people's budgets, where it's like you have this finite amount of money but you can spend it anytime you want. I get one sit down, one purchase time, and I don't have to purchase from like the same stores. So one of the things I really liked about that wish list video is that I was able to use the wish list as a holding place for makeup that I really wanted. So like I could actually buy it eventually, I just couldn't get it now. So by saying, Shauna, you can put it on the wish list, allowed me that peace of mind that like, yeah, I could get it later, but was ultimately a way to talk myself out of buying things. And then I get to be really considered and weigh things against other things that I'm interested in buying, or things that I already own. And it adds a new layer of consideration that I normally don't have when I've been bringing you the no buy updates. I never really had to talk you through how I was purchasing something. I just did it and then told you about it after. So I think it's really interesting to make you all a part of that process and film the decision-making process, and then you also get to see what I end up buying. Let me tell you that wishlist video was just so much fun that I just love it conceptually and want to frame my makeup purchasing that way. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to do the same thing with clothing and then bring you that video as well. There's a chance I could combine the makeup and clothing. Probably not. I really think I want the makeup one to just be its own video. You see it 3 times a year, that's it. And then the clothing one, I don't know if that will be integrated into like the capsule wardrobe somehow, but I want to make it similar, but it might be attached to another kind of process. We'll have to see how that shakes out. The clothing one, I'm not totally sure how it will happen in the year or how it will, like what exactly it will look like, but I know what I want the makeup one to look like. And like, I'm so excited about it. And I think for me, it also allows me to be considered, like I was telling you how I want it to be. And it also just gives me more space between when I want something and when I end up purchasing it. And it will, in most cases, be at least a week, if not months or a month between when I want something and when I get to buy it. Another thing I want to do on this channel is make more shorts. I really enjoyed making them, but in my mind, it's always like, there's so much work, but they're not. So I would like to see more shorts here. The last thing I want to talk about is like the theme of contentment. And I think you can kind of see with some of the videos that I'm interested in are pushing me to appreciate what I own, and then also when I'm bringing in something new, be as thorough, as cautious, as conscious as I can be. And so I do want to also do more active, like more specific, more explicit videos that are helping me be content, that are channeling my energy and the channel into contentment. And I want this to be like, I want this to think about like my beauty routine. Maybe I just bring like a video about how I've achieved contentment in my beauty routine, or how I'm trying to cultivate contentment with my beauty routine. And then another time maybe kind of focus on the home. And so I'm thinking of making kind of maybe themed projects like that throughout the year. And I like the idea of the projects because I get to channel my energy into like specific kind of small bite-sized ideas or tasks, projects that don't feel overwhelming and kind of feel achievable. And I can share how I'm trying to figure out this thing or have found ways that have worked for me. So this is the last kind of mini project that I'm working on. This one is, I do have some specific ideas, and like the beauty one I was sharing with you about tracking my beauty, my wears, I think that's one way about it, but I think that I can do more than that. And I do have like a couple of things up my sleeve that are already in the works because I don't want to reveal everything, but I want to share the process with you about figuring out how to figure out, or where I am in the process of figuring out how to put these things into my channel and into my life. Contentment is so truly important to me, and I think that it kind of got away from me in the last 2 years, where I got so hung up with like this stuff, and then like being a conscious consumer, the goal for that eluded me a little bit. And so I really want contentment to be at the forefront of everything I do in 2022. I would love to hear all your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and hearing my ideas about channel projects that are in the works that I'm thinking about for next year. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm ready to hear them all. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again around here soon. Bye.